I went shopping today for jewels. The wind rushed around in the dirty town, and the children let out from the schools. I was standing on a noisy corner, waiting for the walking green. Across the street he stood, and he played real good on his clarinet for free. Now me, I play for fortune, and those velvet curtain calls. I've got a black limousine and two gentlemen escorting me to the halls. And I play if you have the money, or if you're a friend to me. But the one-man band by the quick lunch stand, he was playing real good for free.
You got your cocktail?
Nobody stopped to hear him, though he played so sweet and high. They knew he had never been on their TV, so they passed his music by. I meant to go over and ask for a song. Baby, put on a harmony. I heard his refrain as the signal changed. He was playing real good for free.
Hey. Hey, everybody. For free. Joni Mitchell, for free. Who's that? Hi, John. Hi. Lillian Pearl. Knew there was a storm coming. So, that's what's happening right now. There is a storm. So, how are you, John? How's everybody doing tonight? Happy Sunday. Cocktail in hand. What you got, Cook? Kunk, kunk, kunk. I'm so sad. I bought some tequila. Where did I buy it? Oh, I bought it in Puerto Vallarta, and I had 2 bottles. Well, I bought 1 bottle in San Pancho, and then I bought another bottle. Hey, Mama Grace is on! And I really think that I should have bought more. Because they did I bought 1 bottle in San Pancho, and then I bought 1 duty-free. You can't get it here. I mean, you probably can, but I don't, because I'm not going to go to that trouble. But peach vodka. Jenny Reynolds, hi. Hi, Jenny Reynolds. Hi, Lillian Pearl. Jenny, remember Lillian? Jenny had a dog. It had a star on its back. A star and a heart, I think. Love Jenny Reynolds. Cute puppy. You're bored? Why are you bored? Well, you're coming to a fun night. If you were bored, throw that out the window. What was I telling you? Oh, so then I bought, if I would have bought 3 bottles, no, if I would have bought 2, I would have gotten a 3rd for free, and then I would have had 4. Lucy, right, Lucy. Hi, Lucy. So I would have had 4 bottles of tequila, and I thought that was a little excessive. Boy, what was I thinking? Because I flew on March 11th from Mexico. And then I flew to Seattle because I changed my ticket last minute. And I flew into Seattle. So how was that? Oh, because I bought it duty free, but I couldn't carry it on from Seattle to Chicago. So I had to check it. So I had to take my bag and unpack it, and my friend met me at the airport, and he's looking at me like, what are you, the bag lady? And I'm like, yes, I'm the bag lady, but it's tequila, and I had to take it from my carry-on to my checked bag. Anyway, this is the last of it, of this cool bottle. It's the last of this one. There's another one. I haven't had that much, but it was the day, I landed the day that the kibosh went down, when everything locked down at the airports. But I got through security. I got through customs in like 19 minutes. Nobody was there. It's just me. Cheers. I was drinking tea, but then I remembered Cookie mentioned a cocktail and a thumb organ, so I thought I better get some tequila. Cookie Marenco. Oh, what was I going to say? So it's pouring rain here. Had a beautiful day, walked at some dunes and hiked up this crazy big huge dune, and I'm watching Dead to Me. Do any of you watch Dead to Me? If you've seen it, I don't want to know. All I know is it's brilliant. It's on Netflix, and if you haven't started it, watch Dead to Me. I'll wait till Cookie's here. So I'm just stalling a little bit, Cook, because I have to be honest with you. Unless I can do something this way. Hold the wire. Hold the wire. So cool to see you, Jenny. I was trying to see if Cookie, sometimes they allow you to bring you on camera, but I don't know how to do that. Yep, that's not it. And that's not it. Well, I'm glad Mama Grace is here. Cook, I'm calling you. Just so. Sorry, I was going to sing a song that I'm not supposed to sing yet because it's not recorded. Cookie Marenco in the house. I'm so excited. She's not going to answer. Hey.
Hey!
What's happening?
I've got you over there. Are you getting any feedback?
Nope. Not yet.
Hold on just a second.
Ooh, I like that chair.
All right.
And the shadow's cool.
Oh!
That happens all the time. Welcome to Facebook Live.
Oh, man. I'm so bad at this.
It's here. Wait, hold on. Cheers.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I'm drinking with Jenna.
Maybe that's what it should be called instead of 11:11 with Jenna. No. But I have this. I'm gonna have to talk to you about this really great idea I have.
Okay.
Oh. Dave Randolph. Hey, okay. Let's see. Can I unplug you? I think so. Might have to plug you in a little bit later, but so I'm gonna get you on my. I now have a tripod. I think when you first saw the show, I was using my candle holder as a tripod and one of those rubber band bracelets.
Yeah.
And you're gonna see a little bit of my house.
Nice.
Oh, and it's pouring rain. Pouring rain. Everyone, this is Cookie Marenco. You're kind of in the dark a little bit, but can you guys see her? Oh, right. Oh, I like that light. When you turned a second, there's a little
Like
bit.
that.
Nope, the other way.
This way?
Well, that's good light, because now we can see your face a little bit.
Oh. Well, maybe I'll turn a little bit like this. Does that work?
Yep.
Yeah, there is no light upstairs.
Nice. I'm not a big fan of light. I mean, I like light. I have 5 lights right now in my house, all centered around me, and it's kind of, they're all my lamps are in this one little area for my studio, for my set. So you guys, this is Cookie Marenco. I'm going to put this up here, because then it's not in your face. In your face. I'm blocking it out. So, what's happening, Cook? How are you?
Let me drink on that.
Yeah, all right, I will too. Everybody, that's all. How are you? How is everyone?
So I was supporting one of my local favorite little grocery stores in Half Moon Bay, and they had this Gatlinburg, Tennessee Old Smoky Distillery vodka, and there was a bunch of peaches in it.
Nice.
Fresh peaches.
Nice.
Oh my God, they were the most amazing peaches ever.
So
And
was
you
it
know,
they were selling? Was it the focus of the peaches, or is it a vodka thing?
Well, I think it was the vodka. I went back there to buy more. Now it's only the vodka. So I've got plans to make my own.
Yeah.
It's an old family recipe.
Peaches. So do you cook them first?
No.
Okay.
My whole family's been canning cherries in brandy for, 100 years.
Right.
So he said, don't cook the peaches. Get them pretty fresh. Just peel them, put them in the jar, load it up with alcohol.
I'm on
And then
it.
let it, at least 6 months, let it sit.
I've done that with peppers and tequila, and dried fruit. I've done it with grappa and dried fruit.
Wow.
Yeah, but I've never tried your family recipe, your cherries of your family. I don't know this about you. Cookies are 4th generation San Francisco?
No, second. My grandmother came here from Italy. All my grandparents from Italy. And my parents were born here. So I'm generation 2.
Where in Italy?
Let's see. Most of most of the families outside of Geneva, and some of the grandparents were down by Florence.
Firenze. When are we going to Italy, Cook? When are we making a record? And
As soon as all this mess is over.
do you know if you go to Sicily, they'll pay for your, I think, half your ticket and your hotel rooms starting in June.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, definitely something to think about.
It's okay, Lil. Lillian's here with me. Lillian's been in the studio quite a few times. So are you calling, is OTR still a studio, or is it just all Blue Coast Records now?
We leave it open to whatever anybody wants to call it. So we still, a lot of people still think of OTR, still talk of it like OTR. So I continue that. But in the newsletters, I use Blue Coast Studios, so people aren't too confused.
Okay. So Blue Coast Studios is where we make Blue Coast Records.
Yeah.
And Blue Coast Records, how many artists do you know?
On Blue Coast Records, specifically, probably about, there's a lot actually, 40. Some of them have only done 1 or 2 songs.
40 artists. She has a label, an online label for audiophiles, specifically for audiophiles, but anybody can download. Am I explaining it correctly?
Yeah. Yeah, we usually suggest people download the 44 one, which is probably the easiest one to go to something like iTunes for playback.
And if you're an audiophile, what's the difference between 44.1 and...
We sell 8 different formats.
8?
Yeah, at least.
8 of the same song?
Yeah.
Wow. So are they mixed differently?
No.
Okay.
No, what we do is we record everything to the highest format, which is DSD 256. And an album on DSD 256 is about 20 gigs. 10 gigs in size. And then from there we convert to all the other formats.
Wow. See, I'm learning about my music more and more. Because I always go, yeah, go to Blue Coast Records. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was 8 different formats.
8 different formats, and it gets pretty confusing over there for people who aren't audiophiles. So I think in a few weeks we might have an announcement to make with Blue Coast Records and availability on all the usual formats. So so it make it easier for people to hear us on Spotify or iTunes and Apple Music, Amazon, all those. And we're already on Qobuz.
Qubuz, right?
Qobuz.
No, there's no U. Qobuz. Qobuz.
Yeah.
They're cool people. I like the Qobuz peeps.
Yeah, they're great.
So the one record that you made of mine where you did a combination, you like best of your favorites?
Yeah.
That's on Spotify.
That one is, yes. We put about 8 of the albums up. We have probably between 40 and 60 when it's all said and done, albums on Blue Coast Records. But I can't even begin to explain how much work it is to get through the approval processes to get something up to Spotify. So, to be honest, it hasn't really made a lot of sense for us to do it. But we hope to be partnering with a very large distributor soon, and it'll make things a lot easier. They'll do all grunt work. They'll help with promotion and marketing, and hopefully we'll see all the albums up.
That's exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm excited, right?
Yes, you are.
I'm excited. Okay, I'll drink to that.
Here we go.
So is the peach vodka what you're drinking now, but the peaches are all gone?
Yeah, I didn't want to waste it. The peaches are gone, but the flavor is still there.
It sounds fantastic. And what kind of vodka is it?
It says Old Smoky Distillery.
But is it?
That's all it says.
It doesn't say if it's potato or...
It says Moonshine Peaches.
Ooh, so that's what's the proof on it? Does that give you that information?
Yeah, it's 65 proof. But I bought a couple of my own peaches, and I bought some local vodka that I'm going to try out. And next week, I'm going to can a few of my own.
So then that would be, let's see, May, June, July, August, September, October, Jenna Mamina's birthday. So in 6 months.
I got your name on it.
Have my name on it. We can make a record, and we'll do some. Hi, David. We'll do some peach vodka, cooking Marenco style. So, Cook, how have you been coping? What's yours besides peach vodka? What's been happening?
Well, let's see. I've been doing a lot of house cleaning, and this helps.
Yeah.
A lot of gardening.
Ooh, she's
great.
good gardening. What are you growing? Tomatoes?
Yeah.
Tomato girl.
I got tomatoes. I got 7 different citrus fruits. I got all my Japanese maples going. And, a lot of repotting. No new plants, but just bringing them into the next stage. Oh, I put the fig tree in the backyard. So when you get here next time, I had to let it grow above the biting the deer. They eat anything that's at their level. So, yeah. So we'll have a fig tree back there.
Nice.
And today, I made focaccia.
You did? Did you take a photograph and post it?
I did not, but I will before it's gone because my dad's been coaching me.
I've never made it. I've never made focaccia. Wow.
If you make regular bread, it's not that hard. You just got to stretch it out into a pan. But, I got his approval today.
How are your parents?
They're doing good. I think they're both a little bored, staying in all the time, but they're getting by. And I delivered the focaccia today, so everybody was happy.
So are you doing their grocery shopping?
No, they like getting out and doing their own. So they're actually, my parents are divorced,
right.
And my mom's about 2 blocks from a grocery store, and she goes out like 5 times a day for a walk.
Does she?
Yeah, and my dad likes driving to see how long the lines are. And then he likes abusing his privileges of age. He's 91. And he'll park in a handicap zone and walk right in because he's old.
Sure.
So I get a call every time he gets to do that. He loves going to Costco.
And does he have a handicap placard, or does he just do it? Oh, okay.
Now he's got one. I don't know exactly how he got it, but he's got one.
I have to say hello to my friend Kathy Van Osdale. She just celebrated her, did I read 40th anniversary, Kathy? Is that correct? How can that be? And Eamon Flynn. Eamon, is that how you say it? Eamon Flynn is here. Says to say hello.
Hi, Eamon.
Eamon.
Jenna, have you ever worked with Eamon? I don't think you have. He's a fantastic piano player.
No, we did.
Oh, we did.
We did.
That's right.
When we had that party. I'll drink to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We did. We did. Hi, Eamon. Sorry. I was reading it funny. Yes, we did. You had a party one day, and Eamon was there, and then I think Robin was also there.
Robin was there.
I think Robin and Eamon and I did something. The three of us did something together.
Yeah. And there was a lot of singing in the control room. That's all I remember.
Oh, that's right, because we were picking out songs. I did play today. It was funny. What did I play earlier? Oh, I was telling the Riverman story.
Oh, tell it again.
Well, I can't play it because I have you on here. But Derek Jones, and so this was the crazy thing. I start telling that I'm like, oh, let's play something off of Blue Coast. That's not something that I did, but yeah, it's all. Yeah, Eamon says, yeah, that's right. It's all a blur, a little bit of a blur, but it wasn't that long ago. Last year and a half, something like that. So anyway, Derek Jones asks me to record with him and John R. Burr and Brain at Cookies at Blue Coast Studios. And he was making a record, and Jeff Coffin came out. Jeff Coffin was on a couple Fridays ago on the show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was fun. And so he had asked me, Derek said, he gave me a list of songs. And he said, do you know all these songs? I said, I know about 8 out of the 10, and there were 2 songs on there that I didn't know so well. I didn't know one of them at all, but it was called Riverman. So I Googled Riverman, and I listened to it, and I wrote the lyrics out, and I had it in my book, and we're in the studio, and we're going through song, bam, next song, bam, next song, bam, next song, bam. And then they go, let's go to Riverman. And I was like, oh, cool, I know this one really well. And we're all set up in the studio, and they start playing this song. And I couldn't find my way in, so I just kind of sat there and let them improvise. And then Derek kind of looks over at me because we're all in the same room together, because the way Cookie sets up the mics, it's really cool. And I'm just sitting there going, and then I stopped the session. I said, I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know where to come in. And then he goes, well, let me see. What do you have for music? And I showed him the music, and I showed him the lyrics, and I realized at that point that I had learned a different Riverman.
Right.
There are 2 songs. Yeah. I learned the wrong one. So it was something that he really wanted to record. So you called lunch, and I went and I put headphones on, and I learned the Riverman that I was supposed to learn, and then we went back and recorded it. So I tell this story, and I guess I scrolled onto Facebook, and at that moment, his wife Julie had posted, "Happy birthday, Derek." So today was his birthday.
Ah.
And so then I called him and sang happy birthday to him on the phone. So I'll drink to that. Happy birthday, Derek.
Yeah, happy birthday.
That was a fun session.
Oh man, we were in tears. We were having so much fun. There was one other thing about that, recording that song. And John R. Burr had never played the strings inside the piano. So that was his virgin voyage, playing the strings.
You get people to do that. You know that on my first record, which I just got to play it in the background, because my first record, you were able to convince Matt Rawlings to play B3. And
oh no, don't tell me he had never played the B3
he had played it, but he had never recorded nor soloed on a B3 before.
That's amazing.
Yep. Oh, it says no disc, but there is a disc. Yeah, so you have, she's really good in the studio. It's just, she just kind of goes, know those 3 notes that you're doing? Yeah. Well, can you just do the one? Just when you run. I don't know if you guys know who James Genus is, but if you've ever watched Saturday Night Live and the band, and they come on with live from New York, it's Saturday Night Live, and then the band is sitting there, and there's a guy playing bass, big brother playing bass. Cookie walked up to him in the studio. Do you remember?
Yes. Oh, man.
Go ahead. What'd you do?
Yeah, I think, well, there were a lot of things, but didn't I just ask him to play one note?
You went up to his bass on the neck of the bass and went, this note. Just that note. And, you know, he's like 6'1", and she just, and I knew, I was the same way. I'm like, we're like, space is the place, man. Less notes, the better. No, none of that. Space is the place. To James Genus.
I think I had John R. play with one hand at one point.
Oh, yes, you've done that. Yeah, on my Abby Lincoln record.
Yeah.
My cousin. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we've been doing this a while.
Yeah, I can't wait to do another one.
I know. Are you doing any mixing? Are you feeling that part of your, while we're sipping?
Well, I'm starting to really miss having people over. I think that's so much of what the recording process is the communal experience. I saw today that one of my buddies who has a studio, he's actually got some people in, and he's making it work. And I think that we're going to be open to trying some things out, because we've got so much separation. And, maybe. But otherwise, we've been mostly catching up on projects and mixing, mastering. I've got a synthesizer going all day long, making loops.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For the other project that you've been working on?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
I'm not really sure just yet.
Okay.
A little too much of this, I think.
Okay. So, I think, it makes sense. I could see where you could have people distanced enough to record, but sitting in the studio, maybe not in your, what am I trying to say?
In the control room. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you remember how we had you set up? If we had to separate, we could put the vocalist, upstairs in that other room in the vocal booth. Mm-hmm. Go back to old times. And the piano.
Have you been playing any accordion?
A little bit, but for tonight, I brought this. Oops, sorry about that. This special little toy. This was a special present from Marco Ferrero.
Oh, wow.
It's an amazing little thumb piano. I don't know if you can hear it, but
I can hear it. You guys, can you hear that? The thumb piano? That's a beautiful one. You know who plays beautiful thumb piano? Peck Almond.
Whoa! Doesn't he play the bass or the trumpet?
He probably plays bass, but his main, he's both reed and brass. He plays trumpet and saxophone.
Wow.
And then he started playing piano. And then he went to thumb piano, and he sings now. I know, I just went, great, thanks. I'll sit over here and be on Facebook while you master that next thing. Yeah, so if you ever get him in the studio, hand him a thumb piano.
he even live in the Bay Area
No,
anymore?
he's in New York.
Yeah,
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yeah.
But, you know, everybody's going to be... What do you think what's going to happen, Cook?
You know, I had to do a presentation the other day on the future of music.
Okay, let's hear it.
And it's a crapshoot. I mean, the only thing I can think is we've all got to be flexible and ready to change. Because who knows? I mean, concerts. I've been watching the same baseball game for the last 2 months.
She's a Giants fan. Big Giants fan. Yeah, and you're missing that big time, right?
Yeah. And, you know, and the Warriors. I miss the Warriors. So, I don't know. You know, the concert thing, I heard that Live Nation was going to start doing drive-in concerts, like drive-in movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing the first one in Orlando in August.
Wow.
Yep.
So that's kind of interesting. I read today some guy is doing a concert with 1,100 people showing up, and that's like 25% of the capacity. And they shut him down and said, no, you can't have more than 50 people showing up.
That's the thing. So places, hi Mary Mexico. There are places that will open, but if they, you know, they can only have a percentage, like a third of what they would normally do. So what I've read an article, and I won't quote who it is, but an example of, say, someone's going to go play at Yoshi's, and it's not Yoshi's that this model is after. But Yoshi's, I think, is about 350, or Freight and Salvage, 350, 400 people.
Yeah.
But they can only have a 25% capacity.
Right.
So they'll have 125 people there, but they're going to sell tickets for a huge amount to go see, you know, Sean Colvin or somebody on that higher level in smaller places.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting idea. I think once it gets a little better, too, I think actually some of the problem is just in the traveling and the airfare involved.
Exactly.
Or not just the cost of the airlines, but you know, just the traveling all over the place. So I think there'll be more local gigs opening up. And I also think that, you know, it's maybe not quite our generation, but people who are involved with a lot of video games, they're doing these concerts online using, you know, cartoon figures, and 28 people are showing up. 28 million people came to this one hip-hop concert a couple of weeks ago.
Say that one more time, everything you just said, because my brain just kind of rattled.
Right.
Thank you.
28 million people went to a video concert. And it wasn't even live. It was, you know, it was like emoji characters.
Okay.
What do you call those? Anime? You can see I'm really up on this stuff.
If you could see my face right now.
Yep, I see it. Yeah, so I'm not looking forward to that one. I'm going to drink to that.
I'll drink to that. So my friend Bill thinks that you're so great, he wants to record their next record at your studio. Tell people where you are if you want.
I'm in Belmont.
Northern California, close to San Francisco Airport.
Yes.
20 minutes from the airport. Bill is going to be my guest on Wednesday night, and his family, they're a family of musicians, and they make fabulous music and great recordings, and you would want to work with him. I'm just saying. I like you both.
Good. What's Bill's last name?
Winokur. Do I say it right? Winokur. Winiker.
Perfect.
Yeah, check him out. That's pretty great. I don't have the CD with me because I listened to it in the car with my mom 3 times in the last 24 hours. You know how you do that with a record? You know, of course you do. That's your work.
I do.
I've also heard that I think my prediction is that Live Nation and Netflix are going to get involved with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think people are frantically looking for ways that musicians can collaborate, online without delay.
Have you figured that out yet? Do you know anyone that's
No.
mastered any of that? Neither do I.
No. The only time I know that it was done was about 30 years ago during the Frank Sinatra duo albums that were done at Capitol. They had hundreds of thousands of dollars spent in wiring and getting the signal back and forth. I think it's going to take a while. It's going to be bandwidth. It's going to be hard, but imagine what is going on in the mind of a symphony orchestra.
Oh, yes.
How are they going to get together to practice and rehearse, or a choir? In fact, I heard the other day, I was reading an article about a choir that was getting together 3 or 4 times a week just before.
In Seattle.
Yeah. And like 3/4 of the people came down with the virus. 2 people died in the choir.
And they were practicing social distancing at that point. I mean, they weren't all standing near each other at all.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to socially distance orchestra members so that they can hear each other and play?
I have a gig with a symphony orchestra in December, and
wow.
Maybe it'll be a small ensemble instead of the whole 70-piece orchestra.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Let me know how they do it. I'm interested to know how. Oh yeah, I'm just interested. What's going to happen to the San Francisco Symphony? Any symphony?
Have you talked with anyone?
No, not yet. When I had to do this presentation on the future of music, I was thinking about giving them a call, but I just didn't have time. I had to get my podcast room together.
Do you have a podcast room?
Well, I do now. So check this out, Jenna. The phone works better than anything I've set up on the computer. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to Zoom, Italian women who speak with excitable tone in their storytelling way, as I am prone to do, there appears to be no microphone capable of working with Zoom.
I can probably vouch for that.
If I talk in a lower pitched voice, like if I talk like this.
Oh, if you have a vocal fry. The vocal fry, yes.
Then it's okay. But I spent 3 weeks because I had to do this presentation in Zoom. And I practiced and I rehearsed and we checked it out. We got everything working. When the presentation day came, it took 20 minutes and I ended up calling it in on the phone. There was no video from anybody. That's how bad it was.
But they were all on the phone?
No, they were on Zoom listening because they were all muted.
So did you... What do you think of the future of music besides anime and that whole thing that just totally freaked me out?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping once the vaccine comes in and we're back to normal, which may take 2-3 years.
Yes.
I mean, we'll probably never be back to normal. The same thing that happened at, when the Twin Towers came down, changed the way we travel. This is so huge. I mean, it's hard to even fathom sometimes what this is doing. So I actually kind of think the future of music is, in some ways, more intimate, smaller groups, maybe house concerts with a few people coming. I think there is going to be a lot more taping. I don't think it's going to be live streaming where you have, man, I'm so tired of like what the Rolling Stones were doing and everybody else, all the overdubs in the room, and you've got all the four pictures and nobody's playing together. I mean, that's okay for a while, but I'm just tired of it. It's boring. It
boring.
Doesn't excite me musically.
Right. I agree.
But when people are playing live in a room, in a concert, and maybe it's in a recording studio, it limits the risk of people getting sick. So I think there might be some hope there. I think that you're not wrong in thinking there'll be a hookup with Live Nation and Netflix.
Which, I sit here and I look at what I've been doing, and all I've done for the last 20 years is traveling. You've like, where's Jenna? The joke, where's Jenna? Oh, I always see you're here and you're here and you're here and you're here and here. This is the longest I've been on the ground in, I honestly, 25 years, maybe longer, 35 years, something like that. Yeah. But I don't even know how to even start booking gigs right now. Everything I have stuff booked up until October. Most things are canceled through September at this point.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, and as far as even conventions or, what we used to do with the audio shows, there may not be an audio show till next year or the year after.
Yeah, have you been talking to anybody on that front? Rocky Mountain is in October, is that right?
Yeah. Rocky Mountain was going to happen in early September. I know they just canceled the show in Los Angeles.
The big show, the show that we did? Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's been canceled.
The near beer experience.
We've had way too much fun together. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of the conventions haven't been able to return the money, and there's a big payment up front, and then the hotels won't give a reimbursement. It's all kinds of issues. So whether or not the audience is ready to go, I know everybody would love to have it happen, but there was a protest from a number of the manufacturers saying they didn't want to risk going to a show.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we do. We walk in hallways. I was thinking about Folk Alliance.
Yeah.
Folk Alliance this past year was in New Orleans in a hotel downtown, a Sheraton hotel. And there were 4 or 5 floors. Every room was a different showcase. 5 floors full of probably 40 rooms on each floor had a showcase from 10 p.m. until 3 a.m. every 20 minutes. Wow. So there were just not just people, but instruments and people that were just going to see the music. It was like being in a dorm times 10, and then there was a fire alarm at 1:30 in the morning.
Wow.
So here we were on maybe the 13th floor, and the fire alarm, and everyone's standing there like this in the hallway going, well, I guess my set just got canceled, and it's going beep, 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 and people are just, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. Get in. And we were trying to get down the stairway, and everybody, it's 1:30 in the morning in New Orleans. People were all partying, and people had their basses on their heads and their acoustic guitars, but I think about that with the show. There's how many people are in each of those rooms listening? Can't happen anymore, or now.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I better drink to that. Listen, wait, we're listening to Andre Bush play a solo right here.
Is that when we asked to play like a girl?
No. No, my first record, he was just playing like Andre Bush, but the second record, you had him play like a girl.
Oh.
On Running to Stand Still.
Oh, yeah. That was such a great performance. I love the way you did that.
We've had fun. Do you know how many records you've produced?
You know, I think it's over 500 now.
Really?
Yeah, I just sort of stopped counting. It was 415 years ago. And, yeah.
So I was in the 300s with you. When I met you, it was in the 300s.
Maybe, yeah, because that was the late 90s.
Mm-hmm. 99.
Yeah, and all the Liquid Audio shows.
Yes.
You came to some of those, and Jerry Kirby. Those were fun. Yeah.
Can you tell people what Liquid Audio was?
Yeah, Liquid Audio was a company that was started in 1997 and was the first digital audio on the internet that allowed for downloads, that was available for sale.
The first.
It was the first. There were downloads before, but nobody had made it commercial where actually they had an interface where you could sell the music legally. In fact, it predated Napster by about a year. And when Napster came out, and Napster was illegal, all the attention went to Napster instead of Liquid Audio. And Liquid Audio had just one of the best interfaces and sound quality. Everything about it was pretty spectacular. But even then, I don't think in 1997 we really had an understanding of what was going to happen to the music industry. I think, we were all looking at it as some kind of promotional tool that would sell an album. But, yeah,
What a concept, that it would be a promotional tool to sell an album.
Oh, my. Yeah.
Because of Liquid Audio, how did Cookie learn her craft? Is she the recording engineer in the booth? So how did you become an engineer in the first place? Well, you could start earlier. What's your first instrument, Cook?
I started playing the piano when I was 4. Played the violin when I was 10. And when I was in 6th grade, I saw an oboe player, and I said, I want to play that. So I started playing the oboe. And then when I was 14, my piano teacher said, I've got 6 students for you. And that kind of changed my life. And by the time I was 18, I had 80 piano students every month.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, at that point, I wanted to be a film composer when I went to college. But in that period of time, there were no classes for being a film composer. In fact, if you were a guitar player or a saxophone player, you weren't allowed into a music program. They weren't considered real instruments. So I had a scholarship. I was invited to actually play in the San Jose Symphony. It was just starting. And I said, no, I didn't want to be an oboist my whole life. And I looked around and I thought, wait a minute, I want to play jazz. I want to play weird music. I want to study the sitar. What am I doing in college? So I left. And I played in weird jazz ensembles. I played with Sonny Simmons and studied with Art Landy. Yeah, just did a lot of really out weirdo stuff. And then my bandmate said, oh, you've got a perfect place to have a studio. I said, huh. So me and my ex each put in $10,000 in 1981 and walked into a pro audio store. I'm waving 20,000 saying, okay, who wants my money? And they took it.
She's a girl with 20K.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they set me up. I didn't know what I was doing. And it was my band. Like everybody else in the band had a little bit of recording experience, but I had the house. And I was the only one that had a job related to music. I was teaching piano, so, you know, I knew what it meant to make a phone call back. I was tuning pianos. I knew about sound just because I had an interest in it. And I think, really, I didn't know. I don't know the names of gear. Gear doesn't interest me. What interests me is getting a great performance. So I always focused on how the musician felt when they were in the studio. And that, I think, is really what got me by. That and having the 1885 Steinway. That piano has kept me in business. People still come for the piano.
But it's the vibe that you create. So did you ever take any sound engineering classes at all?
Not one. No. You know what? When I started, there weren't really colleges and courses available. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I contacted some friends of mine. I think there were 5 people on my list. Mark Isham, who else? A couple of engineers I knew from Different Fur, and a few other people that I would call and just give me a list of what I should buy and how to hook this stuff up. And then I went in every day for 6 months practicing on people, inviting some friends in. And then one day we just said, okay. Well, actually what happened was that first 20,000, even back in 1982, wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. We had to then borrow money to get enough gear. So we had to borrow another 20,000. And I've been in debt ever since. It just kept going.
I'll drink to that.
Oh, man. I'm going to take 2 gulps on that
Get your
one.
peach vodka out quick.
Oh, shit. So then I kept buying more gear. And then I was still playing in bands. And I brought in this... Well, my ex decided he hated the whole thing. So he left it to me. And we broke up and blah, blah, blah. I ended up buying the house from him. That's a whole other story. But anyway.
Yeah, we all have those stories.
Yeah.
I'll drink to that.
Oh, boy. Phew.
I had to pour more.
You know, it just becomes endless. You never have the right gear. You never have this or that. You always need something else. And it just is endless. And so you just keep running up the debt. And as long as you can cover it every month, you're okay. And then what happened was, after I was in business for 20 years in 2002, I just looked back and I was working 7 days a week, every waking hour. And I didn't remember what I had done. I wish I could say it was drugs, but it wasn't. It was just
equipment.
Everything was going nonstop. Mm-hmm. So that's when I took a few years off and decided to start a record label. How stupid was that? Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to drink that one.
Yeah, drink to that one.
Oh, man. goes on. But since 2002, I haven't bought any. Let me think. I haven't bought any gear. Everybody gives me gear now, which is fine. But I just don't have any more room. I don't have any place to put this stuff.
They give you gear because they want to hear how it sounds there. They just have it and here, Cookie, take this.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of them want me to tell them how it sounds or try it out.
Mm-hmm.
And now I tell them, look, if you expect me to send it back, forget about it.
Like the speakers?
Oh yeah, well, like I have so many speakers. Mm-hmm. I almost said no to Sony when they sent me their top of the line. You know those AR ones,
the big beautiful ones, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, those sound so great, but they're in the room where people play. And at first, I didn't think. I thought, oh shit, where am I going to put these? And they gave me $40,000 worth of gear as a thank you present. I couldn't really say no. So I'm glad I have them, though.
I'm glad too. That was a fun time.
Yeah.
Speaking of a fun time.
Yeah.
This is when she said, "Man, can you play a solo on the B3?"
He's amazing.
He's amazing. He has a record coming out.
Solo piano?
It's basically, hi Neil. It's basically Matt and friends. Just go check out the list of friends.
I can only imagine because he's got a lot of friends.
He has a lot of good, really talented friends. So, yeah. So you started your label, and then you're nonstop. It is nonstop. I know this about you. You're always learning, and I do have a friend that son wants to come in and learn from you, and he lives in your area.
Wow.
Mhm. She has great interns that end up doing big things, and I mean, she's just you surround yourself with really good people as well.
Well, lately most of the things we record is for Blue Coast in that particular style. I haven't done one of those usual kinds of sessions where people come in and do a lot of overdubs in a while, just because people seem to want to record in this more live setting, which is great. I love it. So
could you explain that a little bit? Your concept behind Blue Coast?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let me think. What I discovered was, over the years, my favorite moments of a session was when the musicians would just be sitting around in a circle rehearsing a song, where the drummer's just playing, on the back of a box, and the guitar player's playing without any amplification, and the singer's just singing, and everybody's playing at the volume so they can hear each other. And that was always the moment that hit me as, damn, I wish I had recorded that. So when we started Blue Coast, it was something that Jean-Claude Renaud, I met Jean-Claude in France at a mutual friend's wedding, and we complained for a few days about what happened to all the passion and the emotion in music. So he moved out here for a while, and we developed this technique for recording people live in the studio with no headphones. And it just stuck. It was just the magic of the moment of people playing together. But it's hard. It's hard on the musicians. They have to play at a level where they can hear Jenna Mammina singing. And it's not easy. But it's the best. So
They have to listen.
What's that all about? Yeah, they have to listen. Whoa.
It's really great. This is Blue Coast collection I have on here.
Oh. This session with Keith, Brain, and Chris Keith, they had never played together before.
And Brain was the drummer for Guns N' Roses, in case you... This is Keith and who?
Chris Key.
Chris Keith.
Bass. Wonderful acoustic bass player.
And Brain.
We were actually doing a demonstration for the NPR folks.
I'm waiting for the day that Keith and I get to play together.
When is that going to happen?
I've just sat in with he and Dan once, which was really fun, at a concert. I don't know.
That would be great. Jenner Fox, too, another one of our artists.
Tell me about Jenner. You've mentioned, but I don't know. I haven't met.
He's like well, you're gonna love him. That's all I can say. Is his lyric writing is
She puts me in the studio. She goes, you're gonna love him. Here's this. There's Jenner. This is Jenner. Can you guys play whatever song? And I go, kind of. Can you get the lyric? And then we record.
Yeah, that'll be it. And I think he'll know a lot of the songs. He's one of the new generation of folks that actually understood what this is about, what playing live is about, and actually listening.
John R. Burgess showed up.
Ah! John R.
Hey, John R. Burr.
I'll drink to that.
And who else just got here? John R. and Marco Ferrero?
Marco Ferrero?
Yeah.
Marco? That Marco?
I think so.
Oh my God, Marco, look!
Is that who gave this beautiful thumb piano to you?
Yes, Marco is a bass player. He's a Blue Coast artist. And he's Italian. And he's wonderful. And he gave me this thumb piano that is featured on many of my ambient albums.
So the ambient records, the stuff that you're putting on YouTube.
Yeah. Yes, the music that is meant to lull you to sleep.
Helps us go to sleep. And they're long.
They're about
8
an hour.
hours?
Yeah.
How many of those have you created?
There's 12. And that completes the series. It was me and Brain recording real instruments, recording the sounds of the ocean, birds, chimes, wine bottles.
Empty wine bottles.
Number 12, we call them continuums. Continuum 12 actually is the sound of a whiskey cork coming out of a bottle. And it sounded like frogs. So I've got a bunch of frogs going. I mean, it's a party. I don't know how anybody could sleep to this.
I was going to say, I don't know if I could sleep to that. But because I would want to be going, what is that? I know that sound. I've heard that. What is, it's not really a frog. Is that really a frog? And then the next thing I'd be up at 3 in the morning Googling, what's that sound? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, there was still whiskey in the bottle, but at the end of the session, there wasn't.
Marco says, hi, Jenna. Hi, Cookie. Where does Marco live?
Marco travels all over. He's got a house up in Woodstock.
Oh, okay.
Ask Marco if he's... Marco, is that where you are now? Are
Marco.
you in Woodstock?
Where are you, Marco? Do you know Rolf Sturm, Marco? And you must know Steven Bernstein and Eric Lawrence. They're Nyack people, but they're in, because Levon Helm was in Woodstock. So that's that whole scene.
Yeah.
Well, what next time Marco's out? How about Marco, John R., and Jenna?
Oh, that'd be great.
But Marco will be on our Italian record.
We got to do the Italian record.
Have to do the Italian record. Cook.
Marco would be great to do the ambient record with, too.
Oh, okay. I'm still listening to Keith.
Singing don't worry, Bobby said no.
So how many of these Blue Coast Collection records have you made?
We have 4 collections. We have a few other compilation albums like solo piano. Well, it's mostly piano. There's a couple of duo pieces. We've got a couple of new music discovery albums that are compilations.
When you say discovery albums?
Yeah, they were... Well, it's kind of a long story, but we call them Discover albums because they weren't made... I didn't put the same kind of thought process into how I make the compilation records. They usually had more of a some other reason for me putting these songs together. Like I did a couple of, we call them Happy Valley Volume 1 and Volume 2, that we recorded live, musicians who I'd never met at Keith's studio down in Santa Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple of discovery albums that were artists that I didn't really know who just came into the studio, played a few songs, and so we put those on the Discover New Music albums. Just a way to expose some artists.
Fun. Marco is in Woodstock, and he said, yes, please.
Marco! Come out here.
I'll come out. I'm not ready to fly yet because of the thumb piano.
Well, that's true. I could send you thumb piano recordings for you to sing along to.
Okay. I have a friend that flew the other day from Miami to San Francisco, and the flight was full.
Oh, you're kidding.
Full. Ooh, who's this?
Oh, that's... Jane is married to Chris Key, the bass player. And Jane is an amazing singer.
Really beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Hi, Kate. Yeah, so he was on the flight the other day, and it was completely full, and he was sending photos live, like every 2 minutes. He's like, okay, more seats are getting full. Not everyone's wearing a mask.
Oh,
More seats are filling, and then it was full.
that's amazing.
I didn't even know they were doing that. Hi, Kate.
No, I heard that they were going to charge extra if you left an empty seat next to you.
Say that again?
I heard that some airlines were going to charge extra for having an empty seat next to you. But I also heard, I don't know, I heard that I didn't think that most of the flights would be full. A lot of them, they said there would be like 6 people on it.
Yes, but this particular one from Miami to San Francisco, I guess, was full.
Wow.
I'll drink to that.
with this pretty soon. Is that when our little chat's over, Jenna? When I finish this?
Whatever, or it could go on for much longer after that too.
You know, we don't get a chance to drink together that often, so it's kind of fun.
Last time was with Bob Peak at a songwriters in San Francisco. What's that called? The Songwriter Conference.
Oh, right, the West Coast Songwriters.
West Coast Songwriters.
Oh my God, I must have been drunk. I remember, I think I drove up with Bob, but...
Hey, do you still have my jeans?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I love those jeans.
They're still by the door.
In a bag.
In a bag.
Awesome. I wonder if I can still wear them. They're good jeans. If you want to wear them, you're welcome.
Oh, man. I'll bring them downstairs because you've been here 2 or 3 times, and I just don't even remember to bring them down to you.
I just remembered right now. But no, if you move them, they might disappear. I like that they're where they are upstairs.
They're right there by the door, so that in case you showed up, I can just hand them to you.
I guess I'll do that sometime. You never know.
Never know.
I will be back sooner than later. See, my gigs in California canceled also. So, and I know we had talked about you were going to do something the last weekend in May.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No.
I've asked a few artists. I mean, I think at this point, we're willing to have people come in. It's whether they feel comfortable coming in, because Patrick's been showing up at the studio 4 days a week. We have a whole system down. Neither one of us have gotten sick or transmitted anything to anybody else that we know of. And so we've got a method we might be able to use. Yeah. It's kind of... This whole thing is so crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And then you see people, I mean, well, I'll ask you, do you wear a mask when you go out?
Oh, yeah. When I go out, yeah.
Do
when
you
I'm
wear
in the studio.
In the studio, are you masked? You and Patrick, or no?
No, but, you know, we're usually 10 feet apart. He's in the back where he usually sits. Mm-hmm. And I'm up at the, at the board. So we've got about 10 feet at least between us. And a lot of times I'm upstairs and he's just downstairs working.
And what about when you see your parents?
I wear a mask.
Good.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard not to be able to give them a hug and a kiss and all that.
It's unreal.
Yeah. The focaccia delivery today, we had to wear a mask, but, they were happy to get the focaccia, say hi.
This is a nice one.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Looking for some place to rest my bones.
This is another one.
Searching for salvation.
When Chai came in to do this song, it was kind of it was like a dance song. Two beat, bop, 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 bop. And I said, hey, can you slow this down and do it like a ballad? Let me tell you, this was the first take. He's never played it like this again.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a beautiful voice.
It is. It's great. Hey, you're on this album too.
What song? There's one song that I still want to hear one of these days.
Which one?
Oh, and who was that? Who was that you were just listening to?
Oh, that was Chai McLean.
Chai?
Yeah.
Like the T?
C-H-I.
Chai McLean. Marco asked, who is this? The one song, the other Warren Zevon song that I've done. with you. Mutineer and Keep Me in Your Heart for a While.
Oh, shit.
It's a good one.
It's a great song. Did we actually get a take? I mean, you're never the issue. You are never the issue. I'm just wondering if we got the piano take.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just do it again.
That would be fun. Yeah.
I
I'll have to go back and look.
I like Chai. Where does Chai live? On the road?
You know, he's like you. He travels around. I don't know if he has a place he calls home.
Oh, this is Mutineer. This is what I did with Matt. Together. I love everything that I've done in your studio. Any opportunity ever to do so. I had forgotten we did for free. I found it the other day online.
Yeah.
I went, oh, we did this, didn't we? Because all I kept thinking was that we had done the other Joni tune. But then
A Case of You, yeah.
Case of You. But then I think John R. was the one that asked, could you do for free? And I said, well, I've never sung it before, but let's try it.
I was listening to it today, and listening to the performance, and it was the first time I really sunk into the lyrics. Just stops you in your tracks. And the way you deliver it, where you're telling the story, it just kills me every time.
I listened to a track of Joni singing, was it The River, with just her isolation of her voice. It was interesting.
I saw your post of that, so I went over because I wanted to hear it myself.
What did you think?
Well, there were some problems in the audio, but I thought that it sounded like the version that was actually delivered. I was kind of surprised she didn't sing it live with the piano.
So she played the piano and then went in and overdubbed, you think?
That's what it sounds like. I didn't hear any traces of piano, but maybe the YouTube version was coming through my computer a little funny.
Mm-hmm. So it must be incredible. I mean, I know how I listen to music and how I hear music, and how I was talking with a friend of mine today, Marianne, who said she doesn't play an instrument at this point, but she'd like to start. And I said, what would you play? And she said, bass. I would like to learn how to play the bass. And I said, why bass? And she said, because that's the first thing I hear when I hear a song.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So, and I know how I attach myself to music, and when like people turn music on and they're talking, and I'm like, I can't really talk and hear music at the same time, because I'm listening to the, ooh, I love that harmony, or I love, there's something that pulls me. So what's the first thing that pulls you when you hear a song? Is it, wow, they should have recorded this, they should have put the microphone in a different position, or I don't know. I'm curious what you hear.
Well, I'm almost always listening to the vocals and the lyrics and the story. Did the story come across? And, it's funny, in today's pop music, there's some great songs that are just obliterated by overproduction.
Yeah, I can't listen to it, Cook. It hurts my ears. Hurts my head.
Yeah, it's sad because some of the lyrics are actually pretty brilliant. But, today's pop music isn't made to be listened to on that level. It's made to be wallpaper, which is sad. But at the same time, that's an opportunity for a vocalist like yourself to come in and actually find a great song and tell the story.
Always looking for them. Always listening for them. But do you listen to things and do you hear I don't want to say mistakes. Do you hear how you would do something different?
Not so much anymore. I think when I was the first 20 years, I heard a lot of arrangements in my head and what I wanted to hear, and was guilty of overproducing myself. And then the more production I did, the more I just wanted to really hear the story. I wasn't listening to the orchestration anymore. I just wanted the story. I just wanted the vocalist to tell me the story. I do notice when a vocalist is more inclined to listen to a bass or a guitar or piano, which is kind of interesting. It has to do with intonation and where they're locking in. Like, for instance, I think as far as vocalists, you're one of the few vocalists who really doesn't have to rely on an instrument. In other words, I think because you don't play an instrument yourself, you must practice on your own a lot, because your sense of pitch and intonation is so good that, if you solo it, it's dead on. And you're on your own.
Thank you.
Well, when I'm working with you, what I notice is that everybody else has to keep up with you. You're always going to deliver a great performance.
I have
every
to.
time.
It's such an opportunity to be able to, it's such a gift to be able to be in the studio anytime, anywhere. It really is. I look at it as, it's, people are like, let's break for lunch. I'm like, lunch? What? Who needs food right now? Let's just do this. Because it's going to end in 2 hours. I don't want to eat lunch.
Yeah.
But then Patrick brings pirate booty, and I'm okay then. It's probably the worst thing to eat when you're going to sing. It's just dried styrofoam and just throw it down your gullet and go sing a song now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's kind of you to say. I really love what we've been able to do, and I want to continue to do it for sure.
Yeah.
I need to.
We'll figure out something.
Yeah, I don't even want, I'm not being negative. Rolf's in New York. Yeah, like Bill just said, being in the studio is like heaven. It is. Yeah. And Bill, if you make this happen where you would work with Cookie, she makes it like heaven.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It is a sacred experience. Everybody there's a communal mind. The hive mind is happening. Everybody has to be focused on the music. And when you give yourself to that experience, you get back an incredible recording.
I remember my first recording, Under the Influence. My mom and dad, drove me down to the studio. Not that I couldn't drive, but my dad, I'll drive. And there I was here are all these people. Originally it was going to be the Abbey project, right? Well, that shifted 3 days before the we got in the studio, getting all these people in a room that had never rehearsed together. Some didn't, nobody knew Matt, but, and then I had asked Derek, and then I asked Troy, and then Derek could do it, and Troy couldn't, and Derek couldn't, and then they both showed up in the same day, and I thought, well, Derek will play part of it, Troy will play part of it, and the very first take of watching The Detectives, you said, okay, what's next? And I was like, no, I want to be like Stevie Nicks and work on the same. I thought, and I'd been in the studio, obviously, with other projects before that, where it was, 5, 6, 7 of the same take.
Right.
And you taught me well. I mean, I said, can we just try it one more time? And you're like, yeah, but it's not going to get better. And then we did it a second time, and then the second song, first take, third song, first take, fourth song. It was like, and then we had to go to lunch. That was the lunch thing again. But I want to be at the highest level possible from the beginning, because I don't want to. It's not wasting anybody's time, but I honor who I'm in the room with, all the way around.
And I think on that album, the first 6 or 7 songs are on the album in sequence.
Correct.
The same way you recorded them.
Yes.
And the other person who made that session was John Mader.
Yeah. John Slater Mader. Great name.
His ability to concentrate through a couple of different bass players. I think he cut like 12 songs. I mean, it's the number one priority is getting a great vocal, but right after the vocal is the drums. And I don't think I knew John before that. You got John, right?
John was a good friend of Andre's. And Andre was like, dude, we got to get John Mader. I'm like, who's John Mader? And then I met John. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have John Mader. Yes. Yeah, I switched up Derek. Thanks, Derek. Bye. Here, Troy, come on in now. And I mean, that was my first record. But it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a great drummer for that project.
And then he was on the second one, too. He was on this one, Meant to Be.
That's right.
So, thank you, Cookie.
Thank you, Jenna.
What is your week like?
Coming up?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of meetings, finish up a few more records, write another 5 newsletters about God knows what.
Oh, I have to answer the questions.
Yeah, that'll help. That'll
Okay.
give me a newsletter to get by on.
I'll do that.
I've got a feature newsletter on you and your music ready to go. Just need the 5 questions.
Okay. I have to ask you a favor. When we hang up here, I would like to call you back and ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
And I have a Patreon page. And so on the Patreon page, I ask a couple of questions of my guest, and then I post it on my Patreon page for interest of 1111 with Jenna.
It's a great idea.
I want this to continue. My technology is still a little, I'm learning.
Hey, we're all learning. It's a new world.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job just showing up.
It makes my day and my night.
Yeah.
It really does. It really makes, people have said to me, oh my gosh, I can't believe you do this 2 times a day and 7 days a week. And I said, yeah, because it's another gem of a show. You and Cookie are great tonight. Thank you so much, Bill. It's just what I really enjoy it, and I love the connection in the community, and I love, you and Bill now you'll be friends on Facebook, and who knows how else it all weaves together, and then someone will write me tomorrow and say, Cookie and I did a record back in 1985, and I will have not even known that. And my friend Jim Chang, who's the editor at USA Today, possibly will friend you now, and you'll have that other connection going.
Yeah.
So it's an honor. Every day and every night is an absolute honor because something cool happens. So
Yeah, you're doing a great job. The commitment and just the fact that you're doing it, that's huge.
thank you. Well, I know this little girl right here. Do you want to go out want to go outside? She's like, do we have to go outside? Yeah. So, yeah, well, you are welcome to come back anytime. We could always do this and talk about stuff. Maybe you'll get some insight, I'm sure, in the next couple months that I need to hear. Oh, you and Jim are already friends.
Oh, okay. Great.
How's your Zoom, by the way? Are you good at setting it all up and doing all that stuff? I get confused. I start and then I'm like, screw it, just take the phone number and here's the password.
I can do it. It's just this audio issue with Italian women's voices that seems to be an issue. So I'm going to contact a couple of my buddies about what they might be able to do to create some kind of app to compensate for my excitable tone that apparently doesn't work on Zoom.
Well, for me, I'm going to change this subject. I bought a microphone that I don't know where it is this second, and it doesn't work. It doesn't.
Exactly.
It's not working with my iPad, but it shows, on YouTube. Oh, you just plug it in. It's this cute little Power DeWise. Do you know the company Power DeWise? It's a little microphone that's supposed to plug right in, and it doesn't work. And I've done all the settings, and I uploaded, and I updated, and so I'm open to suggestions.
Well, next time you come over, we can do a Zoom.
But it's even for this show. No, I have this. I was gifted this tripod, so I'm learning. But I also want to figure out how I can stream on more than just Facebook Live.
Yeah.
We've talked about that, but
yeah. Well, it's stuff we can work on. I don't have a lot of answers for you just yet, but those are the questions that we're all looking to get answered.
It's true. Well, I'm excited to hear about your announcement in the next couple of weeks, and when that happens, maybe you can come back on and we can talk about that.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
That sounds good.
Cool. Thank you, Cookie Marenco. Yay.
Thank you, Jenna. I'll wait for your call.
Okay, I'll call you back.
Okay.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you. 11:11 with Jenna and Cookie Marenco and Lillian Pearl. And the candle's still there, lighting up the lake. Thanks, you guys, so very much for being here and hanging out and scrolling on. And it's just a gift. Thank you. Have a wonderful week, and see you.